Pretty psyched. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back.
Good to be back. Thank you for having me again.
It's been a... has it been a year? Me, shit, my maths is so bad. एक वर्ष भयो त. एक वर्ष चान्जुन भयो.
Yeah, pretty much.
We don't have any bottles, man.
Glad to see. I mean, I brought mine, but you're refilling it on glasses now, so it's good.
No, I've been talking about the things that you've said. के last time हैन कोसँग पो कुरा गरेको थिएँ मन्त्रीजी आउँदाखेरि मैले कुरा गरेको थिएँ कि हैन के रे प्लास्टिकको चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ अलिकति त्यागेका छौं भनेर कुरा भएको थियो कि हैन.
That's good. I mean, every little bit helps, right?
I never thought that the podcast would I talked to 200 people, 200 plus people, man. I never
It's
thought
amazing.
that's
Congratulations. It's doing phenomenally well.
You were guest number X
Guest number 4.
Holy shit! I didn't know
Guest
you
number
were
4.
Guest number 4.
It's very early on. I was the guinea pig.
Oh my god! Guest number 4. Oh.
Looks like.
Malvika came first, and then Dr. Ranjit came second, I believe, because we were right in the middle of
Pandemic.
The pandemic, right?
It was pandemic, yeah.
And who is guest number 3? X, मैले पोलेर खाएँ यार.
हाम्रो दाइहरू
को?
Sobit दाइ.
Oh shit.
Climber
Sonus
pilot,
Dai.
right?
Sonish दाइ.
My friend Shobit, he climbed Everest. He came here to party. I put him in.
Podcast.
And then I put 2 of my friends, Anuj and Pradesh, they sat down too. And then you were my 4th guest. Holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Times have changed. We were in the middle of the pandemic.
We were in the middle of pandemic. We discussed a little bit of Nijhgadh and plastic pollution and a bunch of other things that I don't remember.
Shit, man, now we're in the middle of dengue.
We're in the middle of dengue, and it's...
How do you pronounce it? Dengue ki dengue?
I've heard both. So, मलाई पनि थाहा भएन.
त्यो लामखुट्टेको नाम हेर त. There's a very specific... के पो भन्थ्यो, it's a female mosquito. होइन, that just bit me right here too. And I think if you caught it a bit late, होइन. But it's a female mosquito, if I'm not mistaken, and 72 districts, as of today, 72 districts of Nepal out of 77 have dengue cases today.
That's crazy. I mean, this is what it is, I mean, it started... Kathmanduko cases began almost 10 years ago, and there was some public discussion about it back at the time, but 2019 K outbreak पछि पनि there's no preparation, and so, 2022, we're getting hit hard with it again.
How was it 10 years ago when you were here? Madzale, if you remember. How was it 10 years ago?
Oh, 10 years ago, Kathmandu was just, this new scene was just beginning. The new art scene, the new exhibition scene, the new music, all of that was just coming in. But city was less chaotic, obviously.
2012?
2012, 2013, 2014 was when a lot of the new stuff that's become natural now, activism, a lot of young people in activism now. Back then it was just picking up momentum with Vivek Shield, for example.
When did Vivek Shield start?
I remember tweeting about them back in 2013, I think, and that's probably the first tweet ever about Vivek Shield, is the tweet I had tweeted saying, new party is coming, they need signatures. If you can sign and support, help them register at Election Commission, support Vivek Shield.
This is back when?
2013, I think,
So,
yeah.
X open Vivek Shield ko wiki khole pani huncha. And 10 years later, look at where that party is now.
I know. Shambles.
I know. 10 years, give or take, 10, 11 years, man, look at where it is now.
Exactly.
And what happened to Vivek Shield? When I was Vivek Shield, साझासँग मिल्यो, अनि त्यसपछि को आएको थियो Vivek Shieldबाट? Do you remember? पुकार आएको थियो, if I'm not mistaken. X, होइन? Oh, पुकार आएको थियो Vivek Shieldबाट. अनि of course, Jason Dai came over as well, and he was just trying to explain to us that he was there and then he left somewhere along that line. Okay?
Yeah.
So a lot of people were in Vivek Shield and a lot of people left Vivek Shield. A lot of things happened.
When the
Vivek
merge
Shield.
happened, I mean, I didn't follow it very closely. So they founded 2012. So I think they were trying to register.
Refounded. I like that. Refounded. I like that.
They were trying to register at the Election Commission at the time. And so that's when I had tweeted asking folks to,
My symbol will say, oh yes, my
that very creepy happy face.
Saza party kholo the X, area no ta. And well, look at where Saza party is now. So, होइन Vivek Shield साझा पार्टी मात्र हो. Wiki कि छैन यिनीहरूको ऊ थियो नि के भन्छ हाम्रो त्यो लको
तराजु
होइन बडो इन्ट्रेस्टिङ
well yeah
Kashish, I do not understand how people change their minds. Okay, right? Like I was telling you off air, right? It's been 15 years. I've been in this scene, right?
yeah.
Of course, I've evolved as a person. Of course, more I learn, more I educate myself sitting with people like you. I of course, I'll definitely go ahead and like mold myself. But my core is never going to change. Okay? My core is still going to be my core, right? But when I see a lot of people now in politics, their core, that I don't know where they belong. Okay?
Yeah. Well, I don't think many of them are based on ideologies anymore. Very few are, I think some of the social democrats are. But besides that, it's just about opportunism from what I understand. I could be wrong.
Was it like that before?
I think it's been like that for a long time, since the 90s.
Give me an example.
I think it's always ideological when the movement begins, and when it comes to being in power, I think the ideology, steadily fades, and then power becomes the go-to factor. And all the things that the power brings you, money, immunity from crime.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Things like that. So those things become, I think, take precedent and vested interest. And like, oh, we supported you during your struggle, now you're in power. It's an investment.
Wasn't it like that pre-Constitution?
It's been like that always. It's been like that everywhere. It is like that in America, for example. All these lobbyists who don't want like sensible gun laws passed or climate agenda passed, right? So it's like that everywhere. You just gotta have institutions in place. Exactly. NRL paisa diya jasto. So you just gotta have institutions in place that can monitor, check and balance. Voters have to be more aware where you can make it issue-driven instead of just like, it's all party-driven, but there the parties are defined by what issues they actually represent as policymakers when they get elected, right? Or they get kicked out the next time. That we still haven't reached that maturity in the sense where voters are, kicking out politicians based on issues because parties, cadres have so much strength still.
So,
like my sister, she kicked out,
tell everybody her name.
Sanjay Shrestha.
Yeah.
She's running for New York State Assembly. So if she gets elected, she'll be the first state assembly member of Nepali origin in the state of New York. So during the primary, she was running from the Democratic Party. She was challenging the Democratic Party's incumbent who had been in power for 25 years. So he had been ruling this constituency for 25 years.
Who is this he?
Khalil, I forget his other name, but he was in power for 25 years, but somehow my sister got into the thing. She knocked over 50,000 houses, 50,000 doors in 3 months in winter in New York, like door-to-door campaign, gardaila campaign, And it worked out because a lot of people were telling her, we haven't seen our elected representative in such a long time. You're the first person to come and talk to us about issues and rights and climate issues and social justice issues. So her first political campaign, she won the Democratic primary and defeated a 25-year incumbent because it was completely issue-based.
Yeah.
And that level of voting maturity, because of the way politics is done here, very party-based, and we haven't reached there yet.
Hold on, before we jump back to our side of the planet. X, open it again. Let's share a bit more about her. मलाई क्या दामी लाग्यो क्या न्युयोर्कमा गर्दैलो प्रोग्राम
50,000 एउटा भन्दा बेसी घर like in the winter, like through the snow, and she had an amazing grassroots volunteer campaign.
Just make me understand. American politics, of course, it's different, right? Make me understand. So
there she is.
I know. Make everybody understand in a very layman's term.
Kevin Cahill, that's his name.
Kevin Cahill.
Yeah.
Okay, in 2022, on today's date, I know. Tell everybody what exactly she's doing.
So she campaigned to be the elected representative, the MP of the state of New York.
State of New York.
For the state of New York.
The whole state of New York.
The whole state of New York. Although she gets elected from a constituency, she goes to the state assembly.
Yeah.
Hamro Kathmanduko province assembly bana.
Exactly.
And so first she had to fight within the party to become the candidate
out of
well, only two, the incumbent and her.
Yeah.
And now she has become the candidate. So now she's going to be fighting against Trump's candidate, or the Republican Party's candidate, who is backed by Trump, if I'm not mistaken.
So when is that going to happen?
November. So हाम्रो यहाँको election र उताको election, midterm election is happening the same month.
So Joe Biden आको 2 वर्ष हुन लाग्यो त्यसको मतलब हैन
Yeah, midterms अनि
मैले बुझे अनुसार अमेरिकाकोमा चाहिँ ठ्याक्कै 4 वर्षमा चाहिँ midterm elections एकचोटी हुन्छ अनि general election एकचोटी हुन्छ हैन Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if she wins, then she becomes I think the first female Nepali American to be an elected state representative. First.
कोही पनि छैन अरु.
I don't think there is an assembly member in any state.
She was born here.
She was born and raised here. She only took her citizenship I think 3 or 4 years ago, because she was always into activism. Even in Nepal, samudaya.org भन्ने हामीले website चलाउँथ्यौ, which was banned by Gyanendra's whatever, you can't call it a government, but when Gyanendra did his coup, Samudaya was one of the websites that was blocked. So she was using different proxy servers to make it accessible in Nepal, and so she was always politically active and into activism for many years. But utatira, the family is like quite surprised that she ended up running for politics. I mean, there is politics in our family background. We've had members of family who've been in politics very actively, but nobody had guessed Sarana would be the one, because she was always like the quiet one, the little bit of the introvert, the very artistic, literature and arts and music and all of that. Suddenly, she might become
good for her, man.
member,
Good for her, and we're super psyched, super excited, and नेपालीले भोट गर्न पनि अमेरिकन नेपालीले भोट गर्न पाउँछ यसमा?
Green card ले पाउँदैन, तर if you're in that constituency, if you're a citizen and if you're living in that constituency, then you can. But usko constituency there's barely any Nepalis there. Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours north of Jackson Heights.
Okay. All right. Well, I can't really push that, but best of luck.
But fundraising, people can help with fundraise, because her opponent has a pretty strong corporate donors and fundraising. So any Nepali who's become an American citizen can help with the fundraising.
And she's going to be the first, right?
And she's going to be the first.
Yeah, we're good at that. You know that. We're good at that. We're really good at that.
It's Indian Idols and American Idols. We've seen it can happen.
We're really great at that, man. I wanted to show everybody a little bit of how is reuniting. Sorry, I put you on the spot. How is reuniting with your? Can I call him your grandfather? Uncle?
Who?
When I was in Darjeeling.
Oh, my Baje Kaka.
Baje Kaka.
Baje Kaka. Hazur Buako Bhai.
Hazur Buako Bhai.
Yes.
I know. I was sorry, man. I put you on the spot.
No.
Context election.
That's completely fine.
How was it?
It was good. I mean, I actually I don't remember the last time I've seen him. Maybe I was like 2 or 3 years old when we had gone to Darjeeling. So one like the nadeheko kura nahareko धेरै भइसकेको थियो. So it was kind of really funny that we were talking on Instagram, DMing, and then you pop back into the studio and there's my Baje Kaka.
Okay, X, check out your WhatsApp, eh? And check out your WhatsApp. I've sent you something, The interesting thing is, so I'll tell you what had happened.
Yeah.
Me and my brother, of course, we went on this trip. A lot of people who regularly listen to this show know, And we're walking inside. I'm Chaurasta jana khojireko थिएँ. We're trying to go to the. We're trying to go to the के भन्छ चौरस्ता.
Right.
Oh, कहाँ गएको छैन, थाहा छैन के हो हैन.
But you've been to Darj before.
It's a very tricky, vivid memory, a long time ago.
Were you much younger?
Yeah, and यस्तो parking को थिएन के त्यो.
Oh my God, parking in that area is impossible.
So we went on bikes.
Yeah, of course, this is a bike trip.
This is a bike trip, Crossover, get there. Of course, trying to find parking was like the most difficult aspect of our whole journey, But anyways, long story short, we parked, we got to the hotel, we did the whole thing. अनि हामी हिँड्दै थियो चौरस्ता जाँदालाई यो चाहिँ ठ्याक्क उसको माथि छ के if I'm not mistaken. हैन.
चौरस्ता र त्यो चोकको बीचमा छ. गान्धी रोडमा
दासको ठ्याक्क तल चाहिँ त्यो फेमस ठाउँ छ त्यो के खाने
Glenarys
छ ग्लेनरिजको तल चाहिँ केभेन्टर्स छ होइन अनि अब मलाई अब अफकोर्स
That's the Darjeeling Walk of Fame, right? From Cavenders to Glenarys to Das Studio and then to Chaurasta.
चौरस्ता अनि हामी ओके सो एभ्रीबडी हेज टोल्ड मी केभेन्टर्स ल ठिक छ केभेन्टर्स देख्यो
त्यो त खानै पर्यो
होइन त्यो खाउँला भन्ने भयो कि सफ्टी किन्यो हामीले होइन सफ्टी खाँदै त्यसपछि माथि आयो केभेन्टर्स पुगेपछि ल ठिक छ एक लेयर्स खानु पऱ्यो त्यहाँ गएर होइन एन्ड आई सी दास स्टुडियोज चाहिँ I know one Das. I went in अनि म भित्र गएँ अनि before you go to the next photo है ठ्याक्क भित्र गएँ अनि मैले फोटोहरू हेरेँ होइन I spent a good solid amount of time के होइन there were a couple of old gentlemen but one gentleman was like pretty old होइन and then another gentleman was यस्तो stairs छ कि stairs माथि हुनुहुन्थ्यो कि होइन and this I just look at him and then I look and this किन I was like how are you and no he said how are you and he said होइन X go to the next picture and त्यसपछि there you go there you go zoom in sorry tell everybody his name it's such a fantastic gentleman
shoot now you put now I've forgotten his name
okay your के अरे uncle
बाजे काका
बाजे के अरे
शिला आन्टीको हस्बेन्डको नाम बिर्सेँ मैले
no problem don't worry about it होइन you're just going to be trolled for the rest of your life with your family होइन अनि I went and then I had a short conversation with him and then I told him about you and he was like हुन्छ नि
हिरा काका
count me out it's your family
अब it's always बाजे काका and auntie so
मैले अर्को पठाएको छु है तिमीलाई he's such a gem of a guy and he's traveled the universe
he's traveled quite extensively very well traveled
अर्को पठाउँछु and then of course later on I talked with you and then
you FaceTimed us thank you
both of you guys होइन where were you together
I was in Florida
you were
Florida
I thought you were अर्को साइडमा you were in Florida
yeah just moved to Florida
and then I took a picture of your family too होइन X, open the next WhatsApp. Let's show everybody Kashish Das' whole family tree.
My extended family.
Extended family tree. No, it was really, really nice. And then you were trying to tell me about your
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, great-grandparents?
Great-granddad started the studio, 1927.
Okay, that's your
great-grandfather.
And then she is...
great-grandmother. And then below the tall fellow is my grandfather.
Okay.
So he kind of he moved back to Kathmandu and then he started that studio here.
कहाँ थियो that studio?
धराको पछाडि ठ्याक्कै. Yeah. So that's बाजे चाहिँ द्वारिकादास श्रेष्ठ.
मैले भर्खर भेटेको बुवा चाहिँ त्यो सबसे सानो
सबसे younger. Yeah.
There you go. That's the grandpa that I met. Grandpa I don't know.
बाजे काका.
That's the बाजे that I met. Baje was very cheerful. Nice man.
Because they had already moved abroad when we were growing up. So Darjeeling पनि धेरै gap भयो थियो. Me as an adult, I like to go there regularly. तर पहिला when we were growing up in Kathmandu, grandfather was the only person we met, Chhatrapatiमा यता dadको momको sideको family भेटुन्थ्यो. But yeah, I mean that's how great grandfather went from Kathmandu to Darjeeling to climb mountains, and then he wanted to climb Everest, but then his mom said it was too dangerous, like don't do it. So he kind of started the photo studio there, and then grandfather, who did study and grow up in Darjeeling, he actually climbed a bunch of mountains too because he was friends with Tenzing Norgay Sherpa.
Yeah.
So they were very close friends. Yeah. And so they went on several expeditions together through Himalayan Mountaineering, HMI, Himalayan Mountaineering Institute. But my grandfather moved back to Kathmandu and then started the Das studio here in Khichapokhri in the late 1950s. So in the 1960s, he was teaching people how to shoot video and take photos and,
Jesus. Jesus.
I think it was among the first to publish Nepalko postcards like in the 1950s.
Check the other photo that I sent you, X. Wow.
Yeah, so they did some interesting things in their times,
I was at the epicenter, my brother.
you were.
No, it's a very iconic place. And ठ्याक्क तल चाहिँ when you said it, ठ्याक्क यो चौरस्ता जाने बाटोमा चाहिँ Tenzing Norgay 1914 to 86 first.
Right.
होइन reached भनेर ठ्याक्क तल छ के and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really like it.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this early in the morning, early भन्दा late in the त्यो कस्तो भन्ने त्यो घाम लागिरहेको थियो होइन ठ्याक्क मोमो खान रेडी भइरहेको थियो भने I took this photo. I still remember that. And Darjeeling momo, you don't call it Darjeeling momo. You call it momo.
You call it exactly. When you're in Darjeeling, you call it momo.
I was telling my
Did
brother.
you go to Darjeeling and say, yeah, Darjeeling momo paउँछ भने
Oh,
क्या?
I was so dumb, again. I was so ready. I was like, हजुर कहाँ छ दार्जिलिङ मोमो हजुर? भाइ मोमो यहाँ छ.
सबै Darjeeling momo.
And then I took a photo of the momo and I posted it saying, it's just called momo here.
Yes.
But the history of Darjeeling is crazy, man.
It's a fascinating place.
You get there. The British wanted a place to chill out.
Basically.
Yeah.
Summer escape.
Summer escape.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Well, I mean, that's what they did, right? Because it got really hot below in the south. So then summer retreat, winter retreat.
Build the whole thing.
Build the whole place.
Jesus, it looks insane.
There's some photos I have from my grandfather's archives where they were like having a Halloween party in the 50s, you know? So everyone's like in Darjeeling, so they're all in their costumes and stuff. It's like from the 50s, like mid 50s.
When did the British leave India? I completely forgot. 1940.
47, isn't it?
47 or 48. त्यस्तै कहिले हैन र? When did they leave?
47.
47 ma, 1947 ma. Interesting times, man.
Yeah.
Right? And that studio, when did it open up?
27. 20 years before the Britishers left India.
Oh, Jesus.
It's yeah. You know, we're going to be 100 years in like what? 5 years more.
Who invented the camera era? The X, I'm sure there's some British guy or some German.
I think there's a couple of Europeans because different, you know, there's a lot of these old inventions didn't happen like one single thing. Multiple people did it around the same time. So it's always a
couple of people's ideas and just gets better and better and better. I just want to find out camera alleys. Most probably, of course, Europeans, they were the
French.
What?
Cool.
They have that? Camera alleys. It's so fascinating. I see Sadhguru said such an interesting thing. Yeah, I went to the Sadhguru.
Oh, you were there?
Safe soil, and he said something that was so fascinating. I'm gonna share that. These guys. When was it? Find out. He said,
"How come none of them are named Canon or Fuji?" I'm just kidding. It wasn't Mr.
Nikon.
It wasn't Mr. Nikon.
Japanese pioneered it.
17th century.
हो र त्यतिखेर but मान्छेहरू हाँस्दैन थियो नि त्यतिखेर and people didn't know how to smile.
That's when people thought you were going to suck your soul if you got photographed, right?
Yeah, I'm sure the first that studio photo was like
there are actually now there are a lot of photos in our archives that are sort of like, you know, where people are like that. Even my grandfather's or great grandfather in their overcoat, you know, like with the hat on, and they're just like chest out and just like stiff straight, you know.
That would be so weird. Imagine if somebody was smiling in the photo back in the day. Imagine the things that we do now, and then 100 years later, people will look at us and be like, these dumb fucks. हामीले गर्ने कति कुराहरू मान्छेहरूलाई 100 वर्षपछि त अचम्म लाग्छ होला नि.
Probably so. It also depends what kind of a world we are in 100 वर्ष पछाडि. If they'll have enough time to think back about us. Of course they will, I'm just kidding.
I have stopped listening to a lot of podcasts that I listen to. I stopped. I just stopped. I just couldn't do it anymore. Of course, I listen to New York Times, but I've stopped others. Everybody will understand what I'm talking about. But अस्ति बसेर मैले सुनेँ एउटा podcast. Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg was there, and I couldn't miss that shit. You know the weirdest thing that he says that's so fascinating? In a couple of years, he says, in a couple of years, we'll be talking to each other through holograms. So imagine you're sitting in Florida.
Yeah. Imagine a podcast here.
Yeah, we could just have a podcast here.
Yeah.
You'll be sitting God knows where. Another, let's say 50 years, you'll be sitting in Mars, or I'll be sitting in Mars, and you'll be sitting somewhere in, let's say, Rolpa, for example. And we'll just be having a conversation.
We just might.
And I was like, holy hell. And then people are going to look back at this and this conversation, and then they'll be like, these guys used to do it the hard way.
It'll make working from home a whole different thing, right?
Imagine, man.
But they've been experimenting. I remember in the 2008 election, in the American election, CNN was using a lot of this hologram correspondence. I don't know why. They could have just had
hologram correspondence.
Yeah. People were appearing on screen, and there would be someone in studio, and there'd also be a hologram, if I remember correctly.
Hologram correspondence.
Yeah. the 2008 election, American election, where
8?
CNN had used holograms.
They had technology like that back in the... That's
I think so.
To know.
I mean, I might
No,
have dreamt this entire episode, but so
you watched Star Wars and then you just went crazy.
I know, but I think they had used they had tried using hologram during the 2008 election coverage.
All right, let's come back. So चुनाव आयो हैन चुनाव आइसक्यो.
Pretty much.
Right around the corner. हैन November is like right.
दसैँ आउँछ, तिहार आउँछ, छठ आउँछ, चुनाव आउँछ.
Fuck you. हैन आइसक्यो त हुन्छ नि हैन. आज मैले गन्दै थिएँ हैन. अब I don't know when this pod is going to be out, but today I was counting as 20 something days, 20 days for Korastapna.
Yeah, we're almost there.
We're right at the edge of Dasai.
Yeah.
And now imagine, Dasai is going to come 2-3 weeks. We're just going to chill out. The air is going to come. We're going to chill out for one more week. And then bam, it's enough.
Madhesma as a chhat ko like 2-3 days extra more after the air.
Oh, chhat pani cha ta sachi हैन. Chhat ko pani and then 3-4 दिन chhatलाई दिने हो भने त आयो त चुनाव त. के हुन्छ होला यसपालि Kashish?
Hard to say. I mean, the incumbents are looking pretty strong. They're maneuvering as much as possible. But I don't think we'll see anything, too exciting and too new coming out of this. Just if a few right people win, it gives us hope that things are on the right track. But beyond that, I think we'd be fooling ourselves by, expecting something massive to happen.
Okay, let's dig deeper, right?
Yeah.
So 10 वर्ष अगाडि हामीले कुरा गर्यौँ विवेकशील आयो भनेर हैन. साझा कहिले आएर रहेछ मलाई भनेनौ तिमीले एक्स
2017 election.
17 हैन. ल 2017 मा साझा आयो हैन. भनौँ न त्यो and then of course they merged हैन. Now we're looking at
Loro. Or a bunch of many different.
Loro को पार्टी कसको छ?
I don't think I think it's an open symbol from what I understand, हैन?
Loro जसले पनि लिन पाउँछ.
I think so.
हैन र, if I'm not mistaken. The latest party that I know, which is of course creating
Noise.
I didn't want to use that, but sure, why the hell not? Right? Sure, right? Creating noise, of course, is the new Rashtriya. Oh my God, the Blue Party. Let's take it that way. Light Blue Party.
Light Blue Party.
Let's stick to that. So it's definitely creating some kind of buzz that at least young people are looking at. Just like some Malay say, at least just having a look. Right? And of course,
a bunch of independent candidates running in different constituencies, like Lalitpurma Arniko Pandey hununcha, who I think is a brilliant person and might upset the traditional parties in this constituency. Although this is his first run, and is moving away from being an expert on a subject matter into a policymaker sphere. So it's an interesting transition.
मैले नेताजीहरुसँग कुरा गर्दाखेरि म सोच्छु के चाहिँदो रहेछ त? What are the things that you need to be a netaji?
Right.
Of course, I've had a former prime minister sitting at the same chair that you're sitting at, and I've had this conversation with him too. And what's needed to be a netaji? What's needed to be a MP? What's needed to take in chargeship? त्यो एक किसिमको त्यो एउटा त्यो कमान्ड त हुनु पर्यो नि त हैन among the त्यो सर्भ गर्छु भन्ने एउटा केही न केही त हुनु पर्यो नि त नि हैन भन्ने चाहिँ of course people have said that to me के हुन्छ नि त्यो जिल एउटा चाहिँ भित्रबाट हुनु पर्छ
of course
हैन हुन्छ नि त्यो भएन भने त्यो आगो छैन भने गाह्रो हुन्छ
त्यो ड्राइभ त चाहिहाल्यो नि
हैन and of course don't take me wrong now, all right, a lot of friends, people I know, educated, highly educated, super highly educated, well and good. Great. Super happy that they're coming. One of the first things that I tell them, of course, I've sat down with a lot of them here, one of the first things I tell them is, if you lose, go back. हार जित हो एउटा भोटले पनि हार जित हो तपाईँ हार्नुभयो भने तपाईँ फर्केर त्यहीँ जानुहोस् जसले जितेछ र भन्नुहोस् कि म तपाईँलाई मद्दत गर्न चाहन्छु मैले जे सिप छ मसँग हैन जे मैले सिकेको छु संसारैभरिबाट हुन्छ नि हैन all the education that I have हैन or all the experiences that I have I want to utilize it because that was what I came to do हुन्छ नि हैन and you won by let's say 1 vote हैन I congratulate you and I am there to be with you to serve the people and I hope that happens with majority of friends who are trying to come to politics now. I hope that happens.
We can hope. I mean, for whatever reason, like I've seen politically, for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. For example, simple things like 2014 ma Kathmandu forward Gagan Thapa ji हुनुहुन्थ्यो हैन. He won, and then there were several UML and majority Nepali Congress parliamentarians elected from Kathmandu, various constituencies of Kathmandu. So there was a plan drafted called Livable Kathmandu, which was about addressing waste and air pollution and water and energy and all of that. So you think, okay, everybody's representing Kathmandu. Who wants to be against figuring out waste issues or trying to clean up Kathmandu's air? Right? But it didn't get the unanimous support that one had assumed. So this is not even talking about who lost, right? This is talking about everybody who won. It immediately came down to like personal interest and party interest. It wasn't like, okay, we're all representing Kathmandu. So there's one MP from Kathmandu who's come up with a working plan for like air quality, waste management, water issues. The load shedding was crazy. So energy issues, solar ko कुरा, let's all work together, right? त्यो पनि नभएको देखाएको छु मैले. So like candidates who lose coming to candidates who won is but independence is different, of course.
Exactly.
And Arniko ji say, I fully, if he should lose this election, I fully expect someone like,
I'm not pointing on one person.
No, but for me he's a good example because if he had not run for election, he would have probably made one of the finest and most important advisors to any elected representative regardless.
There you go.
If he can shape policies with the same knowledge, even better.
Yeah.
But others too, Yeah. But it's an interesting thing. Like it's very hard to see that happen in most places.
There are tons of people that I've sat down with who send me messages every single day. You have no idea the amount of people who call and send me messages right now. All of a sudden, there's an explosion of
running for office.
I know. And of course, I look at the credentials as well. I know. I look at a lot of things. I know. There's going to be a lot of people who I'm not going to give this platform to. I want to be very clear about that. Because when I look at it, I'm not here to go ahead and judge anybody. I'm not in a position to do that. Yeah. But at least deep down, my conscience has to go ahead and make sure that says that person's like worth it.
Right.
And at two levels, I go with my gut feeling. There's no heart or brain with me. It's just the gut that goes with me. And coming back to the conversation that we are having, the amount of knowledge, that a lot of independent candidates have right now. Again, पहिला 2014 मा मान्छेहरुसँग पार्टीको कतै न कतैबाट अफिलिएसन थियो. यस्तो होडबाजी त थिएन हैन. I'll do it all by myself भनेर हैन. I'll create my own team, I'll do my own thing भनेर. Now since that's happening in 2022, everybody, I'm not just talking about one person,
no, absolutely,
have a clear conscience that they're there to serve. They've got the education, they've seen the world, probably they've made the money, or they've had the money, so they're there to go ahead and give back to the community. त्यो चाहिँ अबको 2022 onwards, I'm sure a lot of friends are going to come. And I hope and wish that more friends come. Not just now, not just this election.
Over time.
हैन. स्थानीय तहदेखि लिएर फेरि अर्को चुनावदेखि लिएर हैन. अझ आउनुपर्छ कि अब चाहिँ त्यो वेभ हिसाबले आउनुपर्छ हैन. But the main priority should be, I have abundant amount of knowledge or experience. I'm here to serve regardless of course everybody wants to win.
Of course.
Nobody wants to be second, nobody wants to be the last, हैन. But I'm here to serve. I'll serve in whichever manner. And that's what I'm seeing with a lot of friends who are trying to come now, okay? Of course, a lot of them have, of course, party, non-party, everybody has their own agendas. But especially with the independent ones, their core belief is, I'm here to serve, I'm here to give back to my community. And again, they have nothing to fall back to. Balenle dozer किन चलाउन सकिरहेछ? If Balen was not independent, no chance.
Right. There'd be too many vested interests within the party to kind of hold that back.
There you go, right? So he can do what he can do. That's what everybody's saying, right? And we see it. Of course, there are going to be times when he's going to be in the wrong, probably. There's going to be times when he's in the right, probably. But it's a long game. Right?
It is. He's in office for 5 years. I mean, anyone who gets elected in Nepal is in office for 5 years. So there's going to be cycles for all of them. But what you're saying is something that I hope do happens. I like your optimism because you know a lot of these people personally. Is like, even if they don't lose, if they can help the policymakers, if they don't win, that they can help the people who do win. I mean, that's what I've never run for office, but I've been meeting and advising policymakers for more than 12 years, just pro bono. And no intentions of running for office because what you said, like, what does it take to run a door-to-door campaign like my sister did or like you do here in Gardailo Karakramharuma, हैन? त्यो I can't see myself doing it at the moment or in the near future because the longer you wait, life hits at you, so you think other things come on the way, हैन? But as someone who works on environment issues, I picked a policymaker, so just because we're on the topic of
sure.
What individuals can do even if they're in or out of politics. Gagan Thapa was not even an elected member when he asked me. One of the nights when he was running away from police, there was a time when he had to stay in a different house every night or else he'd get arrested for sedition, right? So one of those nights we were talking and he said, if I ever get elected, Kashish, what do you think I should do? And then so the next day I gave him 2 pages of printout and included everything from like alternative energy, electric vehicle, public parks, air quality, all of these things. And then I went back to America because, I was spending half the year there. What do you know? He gets elected and these are the issues that he decides to spend since 2009 to 2022. He hasn't abandoned any of those issues. And all it took was one guy to tell one policymaker that these are the things. Former Prime Minister Baburamji Bhattarai had invited me once to discuss renewable energy. He invited me. He talked to me about for 2 hours and he seemed genuinely interested. Whereas the former Energy Minister Prakashman Singh, right?
Yeah.
Did I get his name?
Yeah.
Or not Prakashman Singh, sorry.
Former Energy Minister.
Ramcharan Math's brother.
Google, thanks.
Him. So I had met him back in 2008 and I was talking about climate change and talking to him how, climate change is going to affect our hydropower. He wasn't interested in that at all. Like he just said, oh, that's fine and good, but we just need to sell our license right now. So you can, so even when you engage, policymakers will react differently. One policymaker actually followed it through, for like 2009 to 2022. One policymaker, 2009, one meeting, the end. And had zero interest in Prakash Math. That was his name.
Yeah.
He was the energy minister at that time, very briefly. So, but you can, and especially if these are candidates who are running, who have so much to offer and should somehow lose, I think they can be a lot more effective if they continue the engagement with the public as well as the candidate that they lost to. Some of them will come from like medical background, some will come from business. So there's always you always have experience and expertise that you can offer. And we all assume politicians have people around them who give them like sound advice. I think not. In fact, it's probably the opposite. So it's always good when new people come and challenge the conventional thoughts that a politician might be surrounded by from, people that they've been with for like years.
It's easy to give up.
It's also very easy.
Super easy to give up.
Yeah.
Running for...
It's daunting. I applaud everybody who runs for public office, especially in a country like Nepal where you have to give your phone number. People wait outside your door from like 6 a.m. You basically don't get any space for personal life, You just have to be present no matter what.
MP Sanjay Silwal was his former DIG too, You're sitting at the same chair and he shared a story. म पार्लियामेन्टमा थिएँ मलाई एउटा फोन आयो होइन अनि ल मलाई मद्दत चाहियो अहिले मेरो छोराको एक्सिडेन्ट भयो मलाई अहिले नै मद्दत चाहियो तपाईँ अहिले आइहाल्नु पर्यो भनेर होइन अफकोर्स ही वेन्ट
What do you do? You gotta do.
He went होइन he went, he supported, he did his part and then he came back and he gave it a thought on the way back back to when he came back to the parliament from the hospital एकजना व्यक्तिलाई गाह्रो पर्यो कता होइन मलाई फोन आयो म गएँ यही त रहेछ त
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And he felt a sense of satisfaction when he said, everything aside. I like that story.
Yeah, it's a good story.
A lot of people will agree with me, might not agree with me. It's his story. He shared it. And I like that story. The amount of truth in it, I believed it.
And every MP is
the same,
dealing with that same kind of call day in, day out. Everything, small thing, big thing, college admission, simple doctor appointment, simple... where mask, for example, last year or the year before that, there's no small or big enough a thing for which MPs get a call or, elected officials get a call and they just have to figure out a way to address it. Otherwise, they take it personally.
Yeah, there you go.
So
I was just like, well, good, 26,000 voted for you, and फेरि टिकट पाउनु भएको छ के अरे उहाँले होइन डबल चेक गरेँ त मैले हिजो देखिरहेको थिएँ के अरे मैले फेरि
So
टिकट
that's
पाउनु
just
भएको छ
like 25,999 more phone calls to go, right?
There you go. So, get ready for that. And among that, take out a couple of hours to talk to smart people.
Yeah, exactly.
त्यो मार्क क्युबनले एक थोक भनेको थियो कि I'll never forget this ever in my life होइन I watch a lot of Shark Tank I love that show होइन someday it's gonna happen here and I'll probably be a part of it होइन Mark Cuban had said the first thing in business first thing in business that you do first thing when you're an entrepreneur and first thing in business that you do is you hire your weaknesses होइन things that you're not good at not that things that you don't know
Exactly.
things that you're not good at हुन्छ नि होइन I'm not good at accounting that's why I got accountants हुन्छ नि होइन so you hire your weaknesses first okay? So your case man imagine a person coming from probably not the area of expertise but then just go ahead and call out
Exactly.
shout out
Exactly.
मलाई यो my advisors चाहियो कोही छ
त्यही
अहिले त धेरै टाढा पनि जानु पर्दैन त्यो सोसियल मिडियामा गएर फेसबुक ट्विटर
ट्विटरमा गएर भने people will be happy to help. You know, the difference is नेपालमा चाहिँ त्यो पहिला त्यो नभएर the gap got filled by our development partners. So you have experts at USAID, you have experts at UKID, you have experts at GTZ, JICA, EU Commission, and all that. So they help figure out some of these issues. But sometimes it's also not in the correct direction in the sense that it's not MPs saying, hey, we need to figure out your issue kasari address karne. It's often like, hey, you guys haven't addressed this issue. Please pay attention. And here's how, the various
and then
stages.
here's a
couple of $1 million.
Couple of $1 million in the sure, please take it. Catching.
As long as it gets used correctly for the right reasons, accountably, then it makes sense. But I keep coming back to Nijhgadh. So that's why exactly I keep coming back to Nijhgadh, where like we're getting billions of dollars for grid, which is like green resilient recovery post COVID.
Conversation. Sorry, I've been so out of it.
It's in a very tricky situation now. The Supreme Court gave like a yes and a no kind of a thing. It told government not
Tarazu
to
bitsame basyo?
Tarazu actually bitsama भन्दा पनि actually airport बनाउने तिर नै अलिकता ढल्क्या छ. It said don't do it as it is, but do it with a new study. And so the government has put together a committee for a new study, and that committee is filled with people who already had a clear bias for clearing out Nijhgadh Forest and building something there. So it's it's where it is. So my guess is election पछि चाहिँ this will probably speed up again, and so it's never been settled. It for a very brief moment it felt like victory when we got the first announcement saying Supreme Court le चाहिँ रोक्छ जस्तो छ भनेर. It was premature to celebrate it the way it was celebrated. किनभने त्यो लिखितमा आएपछि it was clear that government has a pathway to push if it wants to. But in any case, even before the Supreme Court gave the written decision, the Prime Minister had already hosted a big event in Nijhgadh saying, regardless of the decision, we're going to make the airport here. So, it kind of skews up things quite a bit, and we understand the intentions by that very act alone. So as far as I understand, there's a good chance we still will lose the forest. The airport will never come, but the trees will probably be sold.
What?
That's where all party alliance on this, all business alliance is on board with this, regardless of what experts, regardless of what we just saw in Pakistan, regardless of what we're seeing in China, in Europe with like flood, drought, wildfire, everything happening simultaneously, regardless of what we're seeing in Tarai right now with droughts and monsoon affecting plantation, regardless of any of that.
I need a new furniture, Kashish.
I know, Nijhgadh is as much at risk today than it has been in the last 5 years. The level of risk for that forest hasn't gone down one single bit. So it pains me to say that. I'm still working with a few folks who are way above my pay grade, but because they are somehow interested in this issue, I've had the opportunity to brief them, so they are trying to address it from their level. We'll see where it goes. But what had happened between 2017 to 2021, which is सुरुमा गभर्मेन्टले एयरपोर्ट बनाउने भन्यो, त्यसपछि सिनियर कन्जर्भेसन एक्सपर्ट्सहरूले यो ब्याड आइडिया भन्यो, त्यसपछि यङ एक्टिभिस्टहरूले ब्याड आइडिया हुँदाखेरि पनि किन गर्नु खोजेको भन्यो, त्यसपछि मिडियाले सबै चिज बुझेर यो ब्याड आइडिया हो, प्रोटेस्ट हुँदैछ, त्यही पनि किन गर्नु खोजेको भन्यो, त्यसपछि कोर्ट केस लायो, कोर्टले यो ब्याड आइडिया हो, एक्टिभिस्टले पनि भन्छ, एक्सपर्टले पनि भन्छ, मिडियामा पनि भन्छ यो रोक्नुपर्छ भने एभ्री लेभल अफ सिभिल सोसाइटी has tried to stop this thing, and at every point the political alliance has basically said, we don't care what you got to say about this, you know. So अब चाहिँ नि मैले मेरो त्यो, you know, my campaign last year was still after like a lot of the other campaigns had already begun by young activists in Nepal, you know, like Hari Nepalहरू गरेर अनि अरू organizations गरेर. So my thing was that because I was challenging DFID, USA, WWF and World Bank. Why are you letting this happen? You're giving us money for climate change. You're giving us money for saving forests, and we're taking your money, and then you watch.
What do these humongous organizations say now? All the big ones.
They tried, right? And then after that campaign, for the first time, they published a joint statement. 9 international bodies in Nepal: ADB, World Bank, EU Commission, UK Embassy, I think the German Embassy, like a bunch of really, really big. You know, development partners of Nepal put out a statement saying we are genuinely concerned by this Nijhgadh issue and we hope the government addresses it. I've never seen something like that before, right? And then, so we all had hoped that would have some impact. And when the court early decision came, it felt like it had some impact. Then when the written statement came, and then the Prime Minister Deva immediately after that went to, you know, Nijhgadh and said, we're going to go ahead with the project. Then it was like, oh my God, we're back to square one. So now in the last few months, managed to get in touch with someone way, way, way above pay grade of anyone else I've dealt with on this issue. So she is trying from abroad to make connections at a much, much higher level. So we'll see where that goes.
कति पैसा रहेछ त्यो रुखहरू सबै कम्बाइन गर्दाखेरि कति पैसा?
If they get to do it as it is, the clear numbers from the timber, if they sell all the timber, ranges between $500 to $700 million. So we're talking about at least $500 million worth of timber.
Where do we sell this?
If the government sells it, then it goes where it goes.
6,000, no, sorry.
600,000 trees.
100,000 trees. You know, the market value of the lumber stands at over 60 billion. Cosco yo TKP ho?
Rupees 60 billion. There you go.
Cosco article अलिकति म्याच हो त मलाई त्यो हेर्नु मलाई.
March 2017 Sangamle गरेर रहेछ. So the valuation's gone up a lot more.
Isn't this going to be like the biggest airport in Southeast Asia or something like that?
It'll be one of the biggest in the airport if they go in the world if they go ahead as planned. But again, the question is, who's going to build it? Who's going to finance it? Who's going to use it? There's zero clarity. So I'll tell you something that I learned just in the last 1 year. It's very interesting. So in Nepal, if you say you're doing a big infrastructure project, site clearance is done before the project begins. So what I understood and what I realized in the last 12 months is the reason Nepal government keeps saying they will build the airport is because if they say they are building the airport, by law or by country's regulations, they're allowed to do site clearance. And that site clearance can be 1,000 trees, 10,000 trees, 100,000 trees. Why? Because the airport is coming. So we have to do we are allowed to do site clearance if the airport is coming. So to technicality, so they'll keep saying they'll build the airport because as long as the government says they're building the airport, they're allowed to do site clearance. And so once the site clearance is done, it doesn't matter if the airport doesn't come.
Jesus.
Because they'll probably they'll turn it into a city that's going to flood in the next 5 to 10 years. So.
South Korea is flooding by that. Pakistan, South Korea.
Pakistan, the numbers is staggering, right? 33 million people affected by flood. It's like every family in Nepal. If every family in Nepal was affected by flood, it's at that scale. And we're in the same region, this is the Himalayan belt. We're all downstream of the same glaciers, of the same water towers. So it's really crazy to assume somehow we'll be immune when we have seen in the last 5 years that Nepal ke natural disasters, when we were completely not immune to anything. Why would we be immune? It's not like we live in a bubble.
Yeah.
We live in a shared ecosphere. The whole world is going through this crisis. So it's crazy to dream of projects like that and destroy things that would help us be more protected when these things become worse.
Crazy, man. X Google गरेर त ग्लेसियर भनेर मात्र गुगल गरेर न्युजमा जाउँछ मैले एउटा ग्लेसियरको बारेमा पढ्दै थिएँ होइन दिस आई बिलिभ इज वान अफ द बिगेस्ट ग्लेसियर्स इन द प्लानेट एन्ड इट्स लाइक एकदमै इट्स लाइक त्यो इट्स लाइक स्ट्रिङ्स हुन्छ नि होइन इट्स लिटरली लाइक कमिङ अफ
I mean, look at Everest, right? Everest base camp, अब location change गर्नु परिसक्यो because there's a huge body of water there where there didn't used to be. Yeah, so they're changing the. I think BBC Navin Singh Khatka had done a story on changing.
Oh, he's coming to the pod again. Yeah, Doomsday Glacier भन्दो रहेछ होइन which could raise sea level by several feet is holding on by its fingernails. कहाँको रहेछ यो हेर त एकपल्ट होइन don't do this. Antarctica. Zoom in the X मेरो त कमजोर छ नि थाहा छ नि तिमीलाई.
Antarctica is so-called Doomsday Glacier.
Nicknamed because of high risk of collapse, होइन and it's gonna be like it's gonna raise the sea level by कति भन्दै थियो कि होइन and I was like what? Look at that. Oh, go down. I saw that photo. Wherever that photo is from. India go like most probably. Check that out.
Yeah.
Things might go crazy, man, in the coming
I mean Manhattan, downtown Manhattan. We're looking at 10 to 15 years where things start getting very, very everything we saw in
Manhattan.
Lower
New York.
Yeah, New York, Lower Manhattan, parts of Brooklyn, it'll all be underwater.
What?
It's already projected.
Like Florida भन्ने सुनेको थिएँ मैले. Florida
even Manhattan.
ए हो र?
Yeah. Yep.
त्यस्तो ठुलो देशले त किन के गर्ला? पच्किने
No,
हामी हो
we
नि.
think so. I know, but look at Texas, right? So many Nepalese live in Texas. You have so many friends in Texas. The amount of
it's my village, man.
it's your other village. Look at the kind of flooding they've had, and then look at the kind of heat wave they've had. They've had droughts, they've had floods. It's crazy. Everybody is going through climate extremes, and it's exactly what the scientists had predicted would happen. And we're living the future. It just turns out the future is not the kind of future that, not the Jetsons' future. We're living the future of the IPCC reports where scientists had said, if we don't get our shit together, things are going to go wacky. And sure enough, things are going wacky.
Yeah, true. And a lot of guys need to put their dick in their pants too.
No comments.
I'll leave it to that, man. I'll leave it to that. Jesus, I woke up in the morning and I was like,
it's crazy. I mean,
fuck?
Times
are different, man. Times are different. It's 2022 now. 2022 is definitely different. Imagine 2012. 2012, we thought that 2012 was a god different iPhone आयो अस्ति आइफोनको हेर्दै थिएँ कि हुन्छ नि त्यो फर्स्ट आइफोन कति $1,000
It's a big thing now. The first edition iPod, the first edition iPhone, all of these things command quite a bit of auction prices these days.
Man, it's crazy, man. I'm going to hold on to a lot of crazy things that I have.
Keep them in mint condition. Put them in like
box with
bubble wrap and everything. Yeah.
Coming back to the conversation that I heard about with Joe and Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg has said some crazy things that's going to happen down the road in social media. And one of the things that you was talking about is his defense budget. Facebook defense budget is worth like billion. It was crazy number. He is catering to 3.9 billion people.
Yeah.
Right. Twitter, I'm sure, is almost a couple of...
Well, Elon Musk is challenging in court how many people exactly use Twitter versus how many are bots. But,
what the fuck was that exactly? I got confused.
It's just...
I was ready to come back to Twitter.
You're ready to come back to Twitter if Elon Musk bought.
Fuck yeah, baby. I was so ready. I was so ready to come back to Twitter. Like, I was psyched to come back to Twitter, man. I was like so ready to come back to Twitter. I was like, yeah, baby. Now it's going to be like free. Sorry to say. I like it's a Twitter scenario. Are you still tweeting?
I'm still tweeting. I haven't been I'm most active on Instagram for the last 1-2 years. But Twitter is Twitter. You gotta stay updated on that. Gotta put stuff out on that. So I'm active enough.
What do people say? Like, how do you deal with now, especially now? COVID time, I'm sure it was different. But now, especially now, how do you deal with? Okay, well, of course you're not just gonna go ahead and sit and criticize people. You're definitely gonna go ahead and throw in your own ideas and your own opinions, right? How do you deal with people when they go ahead and like question all the opinions that you have?
I always maintain like a very healthy discourse. If the other side gets disrespectful, then it's like not worth my time, because then I know the person is not interested in having a conversation. The person is only interested in like mudslinging. I have zero interest in mudslinging. It's like And in any case, if I'm raising a point or if I'm trying to make an argument, I've probably thought about it for a while before I go on Twitter and tweet about it. That's a big mistake when you just have a knee-jerk reaction and you put something out, then you got to backpedal, then you're like, oh, I meant this, or I'm not interested in finding myself in that situation. So if I say something publicly, of course, this podcast being an exception because it's a free-flowing conversation. But if I'm putting something out on social media, I've probably done, some kind of thought through, and if it's related to data and numbers, I've checked the data. I don't like to put stuff because a lot of people do tune into my Instagram stories and Twitter for these kind of stuff. Yeah. So if I'm considered a reliable source, even if I didn't want to, I have to respect that, my audience, and then make sure what I'm saying or what I'm sharing is as reliable as possible. Because a lot of people fact check with me in DM. Yeah. I heard this, and then if it's a big enough issue, I take that and then share it publicly. I do my own research and share it publicly. If it's just a small issue, I DM back and said, no, I talked to so-and-so. Yeah. Turns out it's not this or whatever, Or I say, oh, thank you for bringing my attention to this. I'm going to do something bigger on that. But for me, it's always that. So I try and not put myself in a position where I have to backtrack or deal with mudslinging. But mudslinging is part of being on social media. You can't, people will come at you no matter what, no matter how, 100% fact consistent you may be or anything,
Yeah, if people are not good, if you don't get backlash, like you're definitely not growing.
Exactly, and it's part of the thing is like to testing, like are people still listening? Then someone throws a rock at you. Okay, they're listening.
It's who I am. I know now coming to like after the 4th podcast, and then now coming to like I'm number 204 huh?
204 nahi ho.
Holy
wow.
shit.
So it's like 4 and 4.
All right. Fuck it. Okay, 204. Right? After talking to like so many different people and doing this day in, day out, a lot of people didn't think it was possible. Mm-hmm. So probably I didn't think it was possible too, but I knew that I'll do 1,000 and then take a break.
Yeah.
And I want to do a good.
Well, no, you got to do 1,004.
Yeah, shit. 1,004 and take a break. And I've been meaning to walk. I've been meaning to walk across Nepal.
The country.
Yeah, I mean to that, especially Amrit Daya is saying. I know. Oh man, he changed my perspective about a lot of things. And I definitely wanna spend a good solid time. Yeah. Probably document it all. You wanna walk with me, bud? Yeah?
Yes.
We're excited. We say let's go walking. And I definitely want to take a walk. You want to come along? Tag along for a few.
For sure. I mean, that's how I discovered the country when I was a teenager. Right? I went to Rolpa and all these places. Otherwise, you wouldn't go to, and changed completely the way I saw things and my own country and my own community. So I'm glad to hear you're planning to do this walk.
Yeah, I want to do it after the 1,000. After 1,000, I'll start planning, and I want to start off like right from that get-go. Hopefully by then things are going to be different. Right?
The pointy part?
The pointy part, right from there, and then we'll want to finish off a lot of places. I don't want to see a lot of Nepal, and never thought that it would get to 200. Now we're at 204, and I don't know, man. I don't know. But sitting down with interesting people like you, it's my perspective has changed. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you're hearing so many different experiences and thought processes. So it's good that you're soaking it all in and sharing it with your audience.
It's crazy, Thaza. I haven't talked about this at all. It's crazy, man. When I sit down with a lot of people who are super smart. Like I'm talking about or people who've really excelled at what they've done.
Exactly.
Or when I sit down with doctors like Dr. Jha, when he was a neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
Holy hell! And I'm picking his brain.
In a different way, you are.
And I'm like, or sitting down with the former Prime Minister Bhavanam Bhattacharya, and he's laughing right there in front of me. I'm like, what did I do in my past life that I've gotten an opportunity to sit with such fantastic human beings and have a conversation with them, such as you.
Exactly.
What did I do in my past life that I was like lucky enough to sit down and pick everybody's brain?
Oh, what are you going to get to do in your next life after having picked everybody's brain?
I don't know, man. I don't know. Coming back to the point, I'm really excited for this Tsunab.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm emphasizing on the Tsunab because I'm psyched. Okay? I'm excited to see people from my generation, people who I grew up with, or people slightly older or slightly younger. When I see Manushi, or when I go ahead and talk to a former commando who is like running for office,
NPC.
I'm like, whoa, this is going to be interesting. Or somebody who I saw on TV running for office. I'm like, oh, I've seen him on TV. And I'm like, or somebody like somebody who ran one of the biggest radios in Nepal, running for office, regardless of whatever.
Of course.
Might agree with him, might not agree with him or her. And I don't have to agree. I'm just here to sit and listen to people.
And the momentum is good anyway. I mean, that's what a healthy democracy is that you have all these people from diverse ideas, diverse perspective, and there's an open market competition, right? So it's good to have all of that in.
It's interesting, and the vested interest shouldn't be there. Just regardless of whatever you do, even when it comes to like the free media now, the vested interest is the crazy part, because it's crystal clear. And I want to talk about this too, because the vested interest of a lot of things, a lot of people are like very crystal clear, and you probably won't know at that moment, I know, but it's clear, the general public understands, that okay, यस्तो गरेर चाहिँ यसको लागि मान्छेले आफ्नो opinion बनाइहाल्छ, so try to stick and be as transparent as you can, जस्तो लाग्छ कि मलाई चाहिँ, हुन्छ नि. And I believe we'll try to go ahead and do that as much as we can, and we've slipped in fact checking sometimes.
Free-flowing conversations can slip in fact-checking often, not surprising there.
You slipped, man. I thought you were the fastest fingers in Southeast Asia, buddy. We got Jamie on the other side. I know, we've slipped, man. Once or twice we've slipped, and then it's like right in front of my eyes. I'm like, oh my God, did we slip once again?
And then the audience was like, yes, you slept.
Yeah, you did. Man, it's so crazy, especially when we talk about space and black hole theory. It's crazy. What are the topics that you go ahead and like pick on right now in 2022? What's interesting you, except for the environment?
I mean, that is really what drives me a lot. The other thing that personally, the thing that kind of helps me tune out the rest of the world is learning about whiskeys, like vintage whiskeys and rare whiskeys. So I spend an amount of time that kind of like, when I'm doing that, I'm trying to not think about anything, but it's harder to do that too, because all of that is, it's all water, wood, and things like that, right? So nature is an intricate part of all of the spirits that we drink, and how it's aged and everything. So for me, everything comes back to just like environment issues, How do communities move ahead in the next 10 years, and what happens to people in Madhesh, what happens to people in the mountain communities, what happens to my family members in Florida? It's just like, it's everything. Everything that we do is like, the big umbrella is the ecology. Everything else falls under that. Things that we do for leisure, like traveling. What happens to travel when extreme weather gets really extreme? Food and drinks. What happens to food sources and drink qualities when extreme weather gets really extreme? Think about anything, and it immediately goes back to nature and ecology. So even though the caveat you put was like besides environment, for me, it's inescapable. Everything goes back to environment and ecology for me.
Yeah, and I was thinking, how long can I escape dengue? Dengue, whatever it is. It's just a matter
knock
of time.
on wood, right? I'm not superstitious, but I'm going to knock on wood on that. I got an event coming up in 2 weeks, and I cannot afford to get knocked out for
10, 15
for
days.
A day. Yeah, I know.
I don't know, man. It's just a matter. Since I'm in the epicenter of this whole thing, everybody, left, right, center, all my friends are getting it. And I'm like, shit, man. Last time it was COVID when you came. Now it's dengue. And next time it's going to be like, I don't know, Lord knows. I hope it's not like snake pox or something. Congratulations on getting married, man. How does that feel?
It's a hell of a place to talk about this publicly, because we actually, my wife and I, haven't really talked about this publicly at all. So this is an interesting place to do so very, very publicly. It's been good. I've known her for many years, and we decided it was time.
When did you meet her first time?
We were dating in 2015. Actually, So when the earthquake happened, she was in Colorado and I was at the City Museum Cafe downstairs behind the counter because I'd sent my staff to buy supplies for, cafe. And so we were talking on Viber and then the earthquake happened. I was like, oh shit, Buisalo ayo. I have to call you back because I need to check on my staff and there's a guest at the cafe. I need to take her out to safety.
Yeah.
So we hung up and then we didn't talk. Like there was no time to talk because then I grabbed my camera and I was running around the city trying to document what was happening. But yeah, so we were dating in 2015 and then she came to Nepal, but I was about to go to the US. I messed up on my side in the relationship also.
Yeah.
So,
We all do that.
So I admit that I messed it up on my end. And then we got we got lost in our own worlds. We were like briefly in touch. But then last year, she happened to have moved back to the US. She was visiting a sister there during COVID. And so I had done your podcast, come here and then escaped again because of COVID.
Yeah.
So when she was in state and I was in state, we kind of reconnected. Things got, progressively more and more
Good for
compelling. And then eventually we ended up getting married.
Good for you, man. Good for you. I'm super
Thank you.
excited. I'm super happy for you. And, I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm genuinely really happy.
Thank you.
For
It's
both
still a
of
very
you.
surreal place to be talking about this for the first time.
Marriage. Wow. It takes a lot, man. It takes a lot to put that ring, I'm sure. I'm sure
Yes.
after waiting for such a long time.
Yes.
I know. I'm sure it took you a lot to get it done.
Yes. I was just like, I don't want to repeat my 2015's mistake this time. This time I want to get it done. So
Nice, man. Good for you.
we got it done.
You guys are based out of Florida? I think?
Florida. Yeah, we're based out of Florida now. So we'll probably go back to New York eventually.
Yeah.
But Florida for now. We just, Florida is so beautiful when you look at all the beaches and stuff, but my God, it's humid and hot.
I'm sure, man. Trump is there too.
And that. So we decided, having lived in the Nevada desert, having lived in the tropical weather of Florida, we're like, New York has it all.
Yeah,
End of
you
the day,
wanna go back.
New York is New York. So in a year or two, we'll probably move back to New York. Let's see.
Kashish Das, you got a home here, you got a home there, you got a home everywhere, man. You got a home on Twitter, man.
I got a home on Twitter.
Congratulations. And
Thank you.
Of course, not just today, I'll definitely see you in the US. Or I'll probably see you, I'm going to say this right now, I'm going to see you in a week, 10 days when we come back with Curtis Waters.
Curtis Waters, bringing Curtis home.
Yo, Curtis ko ke re? What's that song?
Stunning.
Stunning. Kola ta dekhauda the show to everybody else. I need to stop saying kola. Somebody was telling me I'm getting trolled by
Kola.
kola ta.
Gotta be careful.
When's he coming? When's the gig?
Curtis should be in Nepal sometime next week. And then the gig is
Date. Just say the
24th,
date.
24th September
Okay.
is
the concert. That's a Saturday before Gagan Thapa. It's going to be at LOD.
Yeah.
We're going to have Dimriti, Smriti Vishwakarma, and we're going to have Rohit Shakya performing with Sim Famous.
Yeah.
We're going to have Dong after his
nice.
wild tour in Australia. He's going to
Nice.
be back doing a pretty long set, and then we're going to have Curtis Waters
Nice.
stunning the audience.
What time are we starting?
We're going to do 6 to 8.
6 to 8?
Yes, we're going to be, because the audience age, you want to make sure it's comfortable for everybody to come, enjoy, and go home or stay around or whatever,
I want to throw this in there. I'm not going to get into details of this, but this is 2022. I've learned my lesson. Please send me my contract.
Of course. Of course. Before
shit.
anything with the event before I had even confirmed my artist list, I DM'd you.
DM'd me.
I said, Curtis is coming. I'm figuring out the rest, but you better be there.
Yeah,
So,
I remember that.
so you're going to be...
I've learned my lesson, man. Jesus
Well, MC,
Christ.
I used to MC, because I used to be on
Yeah.
the radio. I used to get called to events to MC.
Yeah.
And so it was always, I didn't enjoy it as much as you because you turned it into a whole different thing. You kind of helped shape the industry, which is why, it's like I knew I would have great artists because
Yeah.
I know some of them so personally,
Yeah.
but I was like, it doesn't matter if I have really good artists. Like if you don't have an MC, the event will feel a little incomplete. So
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having
So I
me
had
on
to
board.
block your date well in advance because it's Dasai time, right? I figured there's gonna be so many events happening around the country.
Yeah.
Never know who's gonna like pull you out. So I was like, 24th se block, eh?
Done. I think we've got. I believe. I don't think I should say who's coming. No. Curtis the time. I'm not gonna say who's coming, but he's a very high-profile guest that I've got coming as well. 24th, 25th as okay. I'm not gonna share details. But coming back to the MC part, like I was telling you, right?
Yeah.
I started in 2008. Nepalganjma Close-Up Love Fest. I'll never forget that event. And coming to 2022 and being able to do fantastic, amazing events and venues that I never imagined. Like I'll be on the stage and controlling God knows how many people. And it's a surreal experience. But again, I do it now. Of course, I always did it for the bread and butter.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything else.
It's a livelihood.
People need to understand that I survive on hosting events. I don't have another gig.
That's
that is
live.
my gig. Like a lot of people think I've had money, family money. Fuck no. I have nothing in my name. Nothing. Nil. And I survived on MCs and I still survive on MCs.
Yeah.
That's my main gig. And talking to people. I was thinking about it. And I was thinking I'll share this when you come over. I was 16 and a half, Kashish, when I joined the call center. Serving mines. I was thrown in the
serving mines.
There you go. I was thrown in the pit. The pit of being an agent. The pit of wearing a headphones. Of course, you with a mic. So from the moment I've got my shit together, I've had headphones and microphones in my life. Talking to people. Did you hear I was talking to Khairis? Americans, to be very straight up. And then I went to the radio and then I talked to Nepali people. And till today, I talk to Nepali people and definitely I talk to people all around the world as well. So imagine doing that shit from 16 till 34 now. And probably I'll end up doing this till if I live till 70.
It's what you do. I mean, it's that's what it is. It's a thing. But that also reminds me, because you're talking about MCs or even management is the same. I don't know if you saw this post Spandan had posted yesterday. Is event management, he was addressing people who just expected pass for an event he's doing, or his company, his friends and
11
is doing on the 17th, I think, at Privé.
They've got what's the guy's name?
Rivets.
There you go.
So a lot of people, everybody I spoke to was like, oh, we love him, and then I saw Span's post, and I was like, so people just want to go there for free, and I'm like, I've been doing events since 1999, and my first concert was the summer of 1999. It was Albatross when Nitesh was the vocalist. Sarin wasn't even in it. It was Nirne. It was a band called Smarika. It was a band called Magpies. And we had a dance party afterwards.
Nice. Day party?
Day dance party. And this was at the GAA hall, which people don't even think about when doing concerts anymore. But the point, and then I reshared Span's post and I said, look, it's fun. Event management you do because it's fun, but it's expensive. It's a lot of stress. And it's not charity work. It's like a lot of the folks in Kathmandu who want invites to events. Anywhere else, they would pay and go. Right? So why, आफूले चिनेको मान्छेले यस्तो मेहनत गरेर के इभेन्ट गरेर आछ भने चाहिँ अनि उसको खर्च भइरहेको थाहा छ, उसलाई नाफा होला नहोला, उसलाई स्योर छैन, पास दे है, तीनजना आउँदैछ. If the organizer is able to invite, that's different. The Arthur show at Privé, I wrote to Privé, said I'm trying to buy tickets for the event. Kati baje ho? I just want to know because I want to plan accordingly. And then they wrote back saying the doors open at 7. I was trying to buy a ticket and Spandan was trying to help promote the event. So he said, no, you're already on the list. So you don't need to buy a ticket. That's fine. Whereas had I not known that, I would have bought the ticket because that's a normal thing to do. I want to see Arthur live. Just because I know even organizers or whatever, it's I'm not going to expect to just walk in the door. And so it's just people take for granted your livelihood emceeing, it's
that's what I do.
Stage-मा आएर हल्ला गर्ने त हो नि, उलाई पनि रमाइलो हुन्छ, गरिहाल्छ नि टाइपको, it's event is the same. It's they just assume these things happen automatically, you know?
Yesterday, I was sitting down with a big multinational company, and I was sitting down with the general manager, and he was trying to tell me that, Anthony, the kind of people who are coming for this event, this is not a concert. This is a proper corporate event, right? And I was just sitting down listening to him, and of course, I have all my pointers. I have 1,000 steps to complete, right? And I was just thinking, people think it's so easy to go up and talk, like, गरिहाल्छ नि भनेर, try it. Try it.
No,
it's tricky, and coming back, I come from a probably below middle class family. They gave me great education. That I'll give it to my parents. They gave me fantastic education, and on that is my base.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why I get to do all these things and have a communication with fantastic people like you. And I was just thinking, I'm lucky, super lucky to get to do this, but paving the road is hard, right? Okay? It's not easy at all. And I definitely want another thousands of Sanjays to come and have a livelihood just hosting events or just doing a podcast. As a Bakhar, I was seeing this podcast, ads podcast, I was listening to it. Advertisement agencies, marketing, they're doing a podcast. And I looked at it and I was like, good, man. I'm great. I'm so thankful. That beginning first 30 guests, bloody, I had to explain them what a podcast is. You knew. I know, because you come from a sphere where podcast is a word that people know, but a lot of people didn't know in the beginning.
Well, I had a podcast back in 2007.
Yeah, you did? Yeah, what is it called?
Prachanda was one of my guests back in the day.
Prachanda? Holy shit!
When he was Prime Minister.
You're the Godfather?
He was. I even forget what the podcast was called.
What was the name of the podcast?
It used to be on the website samudaya.org. In Conversation with Kashish. That's all it was. It was called In Conversation. I don't know if you'll be able to find anything because the servers have been, out for like a long time. This is a long, long time ago. Kulchandraji was interviewed for it. Prachanda, and then the New York Times chief election correspondent, because she was covering the election at that time, and then I forget who the other guests were. So
good,
but
good,
it was
man.
It was a short stint.
Thank you for starting it off.
No, I didn't start it off. Even then, it felt like I was trying to catch up with something that was happening there. But of course, back then, podcast was just audio. It wasn't like this with like 1, 2, 3 cameras, right?
And a lot of people I know who are doing it, I see a lot of friends who are doing podcasts now, and I'm really thankful. And we give a lot of people shout outs from time to time, because I want a community around this, man.
Exactly.
Same thing that I was trying to explain to you about MCs as well. And somebody who can make a livelihood off of this, I'm grateful. But the road is not easy.
It's not. We gotta, you get to do this podcast because you make your living through emceeing. I get to do my environment work and media work because I do it for free. I don't work for anybody, right? Because there was a time when for several years I did Fashion Week in New York. Like every spring and fall, I would, work for 10 days, so 20 days in total, and that would allow me to come to Nepal for half a year and do research. Now this time, like this Curtis event, the concert Dasai Jam, I don't know how it's going to go, but I'm hoping you say if it goes a little bit well, then I can do stuff. I can do my environment work here. I can make some documentaries on air quality and all of that. So for me, it's a different kind of livelihood. I pick something like that and then use that to do other things that are just pro bono public information stuff,
Yeah, man, and I'm thankful that you get to do that. I get to do
you
that.
Get to do that.
And a lot of people get to do that. But again, this is something that people should give it a shot. But go in with a free and open mind that I'm going to do this for a long time. And I'm not trying to gain anything off things like this, because once you start thinking of I'm going to gain off of it, you're fucked.
Yeah,
I know.
It's tricky.
It's going to be super tricky.
Yeah.
I know. So don't gain anything out of it. Go for it. Do it. Make a livelihood out of it. And that's it's gonna come. Okay? The money is automatic.
It takes it takes time, but you gotta if you don't put in the time and the effort, nothing's gonna pay off unless you're a trust fund baby. Even then, you got to make the time and the effort to manage what you got in your trust fund.
That's another conversation we'll have it at 304, man. Thanks for coming in. What's the t-shirt about?
Uproar Production at Turn It Uproar. So this is a new company I've set up called Uproar Production. This is doing the Curtis event, and then we're going to be also putting out a lot of environment stuff.
Instagram? Turn It Uproar.
At Turn It Uproar. There
X,
you go.
turn it up, road. Let's give you a shout out to whenever he gets a time. Yeah, man, it's gonna be crazy. Dasa is right around the corner, man. I'm
Just
super
around the
psyched.
corner. Very, very.
I'm psyched to hopefully, man. Fingers crossed. If I don't get dengue, if I don't fall off, I'm excited.
And COVID is still out there, so there's a lot of obstacle race. There we go.
Tune in, turn on, turn it up, roar. All right.
That's us.
Good for you. Best of luck.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for coming again.
Thanks for having me.
See you soon.
Absolutely.
And congratulations on the wedding. Show the ring, show the ring.
There's my ring.
All right, brother.
If you love what we are doing, make sure that you subscribe and turn on notifications.
This program is brought to you by Vyas Studios. Thank you very much for watching us on YouTube. Make sure that you also listen to us on Spotify.